Welcome to the Coach's Corner, part of the Iron Sharpening Iron universe. I'm your host, Davina Lyons, also known as Mama Lyons, and this is where real conversations meet real growth. Here we explore what it means to rise through reflection, resilience, and purpose. One story, one insight, one breakthrough at a time. Whether you're a coach, a leader, or simply on your own personal development journey, this is your space to reflect, identify, stand, and emerge stronger than before. So grab your notebook, take a deep breath, and let's rise together, right here in the Coach's Corner. Welcome to another episode of the Coach's Corner, where we connect with coaches, educators, and leaders who are helping others grow, succeed, and create meaningful change. I'm your host, Davina Lyons, also known as Mama Lyons. Today's guest is Staci Hayes, a mother, national board certified teacher, instructional coach, and host of the 30-Minute PD, a podcast for busy teachers. With more than 20 years in education, Staci is passionate about helping teachers grow without adding more stress to their already full plates. She shares a practical research-based strategies educators can apply immediately while encouraging them to reflect on their practice, understand their students, and make intentional instructional decisions. Staci's own journey began when she accepted a kindergarten teaching position with only a weekend to prepare and limited classroom experience. Through resourcefulness, mentorship, reflection, and determination, she learned how to teach, found confidence in her teacher's skin, and discovered the value and impact she brings to education. Today, we will discuss practical professional learning, instructional coaching, inclusive classrooms, teacher mindset, and what it means to work smarter while remaining connected to your purpose. Please help me welcome Staci Hayes to the Coach's Corner. Hello.
Hello.
I love it. I have not only a good friend, but a colleague, someone who we share so much in terms of our ideas about education, about students, what they need. I'm loving having you on here. So welcome, Staci.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. I've been thinking about this episode for oh my God, for the last couple of weeks. Like, oh, I can't wait because we get to chop it up. We get to
You've
talk
been
about what we
after
love.
me too. You've
Yeah,
been getting after me to
I
get on
know.
there.
I know. That's been for the last year. Because I know you and I know you have so much to offer. And right now, I mean, it's back to school in our district tomorrow,
Yes.
right? Couldn't
Yes,
be
it
better
is.
timing.
Right.
And actually, I didn't even realize that when we booked. Like, this is perfect. This is like the introduction to back to school for our district. And it's just a conversation that's needed because a lot of teachers are going to be going back.
Mhm.
As I was saying backstage earlier, you and I share this desire to promote education and to really build up educators. We don't want people leaving the profession.
Right.
And I'm excited to talk to you about that because you're national board certified. You are the teacher of teachers. Like, all of you are amazing. And I mean, I threw my hat in there and I know how hard it is. It really is. It's tough to prove that that you're there. And so we're going to talk about that. But first, take us back to your first teaching position. I really want to talk about that. So what was going through your mind when you accepted a kindergarten classroom with only one weekend to prepare?
Right. So, just background, I was working at a community college in financial aid and I hated it. And so a colleague was telling me about a master's program at NAU, Northern Arizona University, in elementary education. I was like, yes, I'm going to do it. So I signed up, registered, got into the program, and I was just miserable at my job. So I went online and I started looking for jobs at charter schools, and there was this kindergarten position. Listen, I did not grow up saying I want to be a kindergarten teacher. So, but I applied anyways. And I got a phone call and went into the interview. There was the other kindergarten teacher and the principal. And they're just asking me questions about my experience. And what I had to give was 80 hours of classroom observation.
Okay.
Now, that's not student teaching. It's just watching some teacher teach kindergarten, 80 hours. And so went in there and very passionate. And the principal, Mr. Staci Boyd, because I love him, he called me, said, you have the least amount of experience out of all these candidates, but we want you. I love your energy. We want you. And I said, okay, when? And he's like, can you start on Monday or something like that? And I said, no, I have to get, I can't even give 2 weeks. So I put in my resignation on Wednesday. My last day was Friday, and I had the weekend. Now, I made the biggest mistake that many new teachers make. I was just focusing on getting my classroom together. That was it. Like, I just wanted the cute stuff on the wall, and I was taking over a classroom. So I was moving that other teachers or substitute stuff out. And I spent that entire weekend getting my classroom together. It was great, but then I realized I wasn't prepared for anything for these 6-year-olds. So, you're tired, you're not thinking, you're like, okay, well, they're 6. How big of a deal is it? They're 6, they play, they take naps. No, she was like a mentor. My colleague, Jen, she said, well, Staci, have you seen Dangerous Minds? And I said, yeah. And she's like, okay, but you might want to watch that again before you start. And I'm like, they're 6. So that kind of scared me. And then I heard they were the worst class at the school as a K-8. And I'm like, they're 6. So I was excited, nervous, and that day was long. And I ended up like in the fetal position after work, like rocking back and forth. I did. I promise you. I was rocking back and forth by the white bookcase that I brought in. I remember this. But then we had a meeting after school. And so I had to get myself together for this meeting because I was meeting all the teachers. And I just wanted to break down and cry throughout that whole meeting because I was like, I don't think I can do this at all. So I was excited, but I was beat down by the end of the day. But the type of person I am. And at the time I was married, and my then husband, he was a big supporter. I called him crying. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I can't go back. And he said, just come home. Just come home. And I got home, and then we immediately turned back to come back to the school. And he's like, we're making a game plan. And he said, let's write everything on the board. They can't read. They're 6. So I wrote my entire day on the board, minute by minute, what I was going to do, which is what I should have done before. And that's the mistake a lot of new teachers make. They want the Pinterest classroom, and it's really, get your classroom in order, but that's not what it's about, getting started for school. And so I did day 2. Day 2 went just so much better. And the babies and I, my 16 kindergartners, we learned together. We went through a lot of things together, but we made it. We made it through the year. But I will never forget. I was excited. I was nervous. And I was just burnt out in one day from that experience. And so I really embrace those teachers that come from a different route in education, because I understand. I know what that's like. And it's a different type of journey. It's a different type of journey. But
yeah,
I'm still here.
You not only you still here, but you've made a tremendous impact in education. When you remind me of the only other thing I did was sub in a kindergarten class when I signed up with the district in Gila River. For 3 days, there was a teacher on bereavement, and I accepted. That was my very first assignment,
Mhm.
but it was after I had already agreed to work at the middle school and teach seventh, eighth grade ELA. But this teacher was out. And all I remember is that these little kids, um, they were so sweet, but they were so much smarter than I even realized kids at that age are, and they were manipulating me like you wouldn't believe. I believed
Mhm.
everything they said. It was like, wow. And
Right.
they're I mean, they're loving, but the principal asked me at the end of the day, she says, you don't have to do the middle school. You can stay here at the elementary. And I said, no, thank you. No, 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 no.
Right.
That's all I could say
Right.
was no.
No,
Um,
and that's the thing. I learned you
mm,
cannot let the kindergartner cuteness fool you.
mm,
Like I was just
mm.
like, no, you're not cute. In my head, I have to keep saying you're not cute, adorable, but you're not cute. But now
Right.
that I'm not teaching kindergarten and I'll pass them, I'm like, oh, they're so cute because
They
I am not
are.
their teacher.
Right, right. It takes a special person, and I think people have to appreciate every stage of being a teacher. In fact, people need to appreciate teachers, period.
Hmm.
But honestly, there's every grade has its own nuance, has its own reason to be appreciated, and
Yes.
teachers work hard on every level. We have to say that. But there was
Yes.
something you said I want to go back to.
Hmm.
Put a pin in this part. It's so true because I know you're going to drop a lot of nuggets throughout this whole episode. But this one, it's not about decorating at first. You need to plan of what you're going to do for the mind of that young person. That's like
Yes.
the priority. Um,
Yes.
I remember the teacher that because I was long-term sub, like
Hmm.
you said, non-traditional corporate, 30 years corporate, and then I want to be a
Right.
teacher. It's a passion project. So, but the teacher that was leaving had put in her 2 week notice. The first 2 weeks of school, she put in her 2 week notice,
Ooh.
and that's how I got hired. But she said, and she may watch this one day, she'll laugh. But she said to me, if there's only if there's any advice I can give you, is that don't worry about who walks in your room. Don't worry about anybody but the kids.
Hmm.
Your
Hmm.
number one priority is the kids. Teach the kids. Don't
Hmm.
worry about adults who are walking through. Don't worry about anything else. Don't let anything shake you. Don't get distracted. Just
Right.
always remember what your purpose is.
Right.
And I still, to this day, remember those words when she said that. Of course, I still got nervous when people walked in the room because every teacher does,
Right.
until you get past that. But, but the truth is, it is about the kids.
Hmm.
It's not about the decorations on the walls. Although we all work very hard. I was at the
Right.
school late last night. It's about the kids.
Right.
So I love that. But also, a lot of us teach ourselves. You can go to school all you want, but you sought out resources.
Yes.
Essentially you taught yourself to teach. What helped you survive?
Um, Really the people that surrounded me. So at work, it was my principal. Um, Plus I didn't want to let him down, but it was my principal. So he would tell you he loves new teachers because he can mold them, you know. And so he very open. I could go to him. He had high expectations, but knowing I'm still learning.
Mhm.
So I felt really comfortable with him. Also, just my again my then husband, very supportive, my sister, my parents. I mean, I think all of them came into my classroom like
Mhm.
while I was there.
Yeah.
And so and I'm also naturally, I love learning, I love school,
Mhm.
and just learning. If I could be a professional student, I probably will. I
Mhm.
would, if someone
Yeah.
paid for college all the time. But
Yeah.
I would just, at the time, we didn't have Pinterest and we didn't have the
Right.
TikTok and Instagram. And so I really had to reach out. I would find conferences to go to. At the time, the Department of Education would give free summer conferences to teachers. You just had to get wherever you had to go. And luckily, the first one, it was in Arizona. So I went to that, and that was during the summer. I just researched and look things up and get magazines and books and read. And also really counted on my partner, the other kindergarten teacher. She had a lot of experience, and so I would ask her questions, and that was the key thing, asking the questions. Even though we're teachers, we don't know everything. And you shouldn't expect yourself to know everything. And so
Right.
ask the profession, ask the people who've had experience, but also seek out that knowledge. Don't just wait for people to hand you stuff. Seek out that knowledge.
Mhm.
So it was a combination of just me wanting to be the best that I could be in the situation I was in, and also just the people who rallied around me. And my parents, my sister, I looked up one day and my uncle and cousin I saw them out the side, out my window of my classroom, and they came in. Yeah, I had a lot of support.
Yeah. You have a great family though, and I love that. And I do see a lot of teachers, the husbands are in there helping set up the classrooms, the kids are, yeah, I mean, and I think that's fantastic. And there is a lot of work to do just to
Mhm.
get ready for school to start. So, but you're right. You have to seek the resources. You
Mhm.
can't just be passive and expect things to naturally come. And I don't care how much schooling you have. I
Mhm.
don't care how much you go to school for pedagogy, you still, there are things you will learn on the job. You
Yes.
absolutely have to. And that's
Yes.
because you're working with human lives
Mhm.
and you can't predict human beings.
No.
And so you learn by the experiences you have. And sometimes the rougher experiences actually are the ones that help you become the best teacher. You know,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm definitely grateful for Gila River Indian community because that's who named me Mama Lyons. They did,
I love it.
and so because I learned my way was to become a mama to my
Mhm.
students. That was
Mhm.
my way because that's what they needed. And you
Mhm.
figure out what your students need and show
Yes.
up. It's perfect. So
Yes.
yeah, I mean that's really cool. There's a lot there. So what does becoming comfortable in your teacher's skin mean? I love the things you say. How did you personally reach that point?
It took a while. It took a while because, again, starting in kindergarten, or starting with no experience, and I spent 2 years in kindergarten at that school. And then when I graduated from NAU and got certified, I went to our district we're in now. So, but I kept comparing myself to others. I always thought I called it the bubblegum teacher. Like I had to be that bubblegum teacher, and boys and girls and this and that. Nothing's wrong with that, but I wasn't like that. Now people might beg to differ,
Yeah.
okay? Because they're like, Stacy, stop. They may beg to differ because I am extra, but
Mhm.
I would see other teachers and I'm like, I'm not like them. I'm not like them. I draw stick figures. I don't draw cute things. I don't make my classroom a theme every year. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but that wasn't me. And so comparing myself to the other teachers really put a roadblock in my way, of just being authentic. And so because of that, I would keep trying different things. And instead of really sticking with something and getting better at it, I would try, well, that teacher's doing that, that teacher's doing that. Let me try it. Oh, it's not working. Um, and again, like you were saying that you were mama, I was realizing I come with the experience of being a Black woman. And
Mhm.
I wasn't bringing that into my space as a teacher. And so, because being the only at where we are now, the pretty much the only Black teacher, I wasn't bringing that forward. And so once I'm like, okay, I have that Black mama even before I became a mom, is that auntie kind of vibe, and just knowing it's not a power struggle, knowing I could converse with kids and show respect and they can show respect back to me. I realized I didn't have to have the cutest classroom and I didn't have to have the prettiest drawings. And matter of fact, I didn't have to do all the cutesy art crafts and everything. Did I do some stuff? I did. But becoming comfortable in your skin is just realizing who you are as a teacher and what your strengths are, and then just continuing to grow those strengths. I never thought I had a teacher superpower, and I came into this recently. But my teacher superpower is community and connection. And so, I mean, I may not have the highest, and I didn't have the highest test scores. And we had teachers in our school who 100% everybody like high achieving, you know. But I had that community. I had kids discussing. I had kids taking risks. I have kids who come and just they're themselves because I am myself. And I talk about myself, and I talk about my mistakes, and I talk about the things I love. And once I became comfortable with what I can bring as a teacher, I'm going to focus on that and then learn the other skills. So being comfortable in your teacher's skin is knowing you don't compare yourself to people. You can look at people you admire, and that's great, and see what they do and see if it fits you. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But just being you. And so I had to take from way back when I was in college, my sorority sister, she would always tell me, like, just wear everything like you mean it. Wear it like you mean it. And so I kept remembering that. So I do you, wear it like you mean it. And so that's me. You do you. You do you. And a student made a sign for me at the end of the year, and I have it at my little desk at work to remember, you do you. It's who you are as a teacher. How do you want to show up? What strengths can you build upon to be comfortable enough? And once you're comfortable with that, then you welcome the learning, the new knowledge, the new skills and strategies. So that's kind of what it means.
That is so, you said so much that I would want to put a pin in, so much that I would want to, and I was trying to keep,
Sorry.
No, because if there's anything I want teachers to hear, I want them to hear what you're saying more than anything, because when you understand who you are at the core and what you bring to the table, your superpower, and we all have a superpower. I know that my superpower, I learned early on that it was being able to look at a student and see through the facade of what they want, regardless of behavior. Once and I don't know what PD or what Psychology Today magazine I read or what that said all behavior is communication. I started asking kids, what are you trying to tell me by the way you behave?
Right.
Good or bad, what are you trying to tell me? Because there's something you want me to know. And when I caught on to that and I realized that, I changed the way I approached, not only my relationships with students, but it helped me to develop really good bonds and relationships. And once you do that, as they say, once you take them by the heart, it's easy to take them by the hand.
Right.
But I think what's critical though, and you touched on it, is first you have to get to know you. You have to be honest about what is it that I'm not doing. Like I get what you're saying about looking at other people, and because I had this fake it till you make it type thing going on in my head when I first started, because I was a corporate person. I had lived 30 plus years in a cubicle. I worked in, executive, 37th floor, bank one, commercial construction lending, all that stuff that matters nothing. To me, at the end of the day, it didn't matter. What mattered is what I'm doing making a difference in our society? Right. And so when I became a teacher, it was like, I can see that it's making a difference.
Right.
And that's where my passion came in. But it took me a long time to figure out how I was supposed to behave as a teacher. And one of my difficult things also was what to put on the walls and all that, because it definitely was pre-Pinterest for me too. Well, Pinterest was just starting to come in when I started teaching. You've been at it longer. But I always said, I'm not that kind of creative. Now, if somebody says do the bulletin boards, I'm running. I'm going to tell you right now, what I love, and I want to take a moment to plug the teaming model, because there's someone, we're in teams at our school, as you know, and there's someone on your team that has the abilities and the skills that you may not have. And I think that's amazing. And I have no problem with saying,
Mm-hmm.
I'm good as a leader. I'm good to be the team leader, but I do
Right.
not do well when it comes to hanging things up straight on the wall and or matching colors. Right now, you walk in my classroom, there's so many colors your head will be spinning because I'm not worried about matching stuff. But and you've been in my room.
I'll be there tomorrow.
It's like, okay, this will work. Okay, this will work. But then I go in some classrooms and it's like amazing. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, this person's an artist. Um, but at the end of the day, we all have to show up for the
Yes.
main purpose, and that is to what's the best way to get, these
Right.
kids to learn, and how do I reach each child in a way that's meaningful to them?
Right.
It's not a
And
one size fits all.
it's not. And Davina, you even said like the teaming model. I have to do a plug. I taught at the same school for about 15 years, third grade. And I had my teammate Denise. We went through a whole lot of things. Sometimes it was just us two. Then there was 4 people on the team. There were 3 people, but it was always us. And we had that understanding. She was the creative side, the artsy, the bulletin board. I mean, you walk in her class and it's just beautiful. And I'm the one who would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and send her an email about this project or this idea or this activity I want them to do or I created. And so we knew each other's strengths. And I would create the activity or plan, and then she'd run the copies, make the visuals, all that stuff. For the beginning of school, when we would do our about me poster, she did my poster because I did not know how to draw me, but she knew. And so she would do that. So
Right.
when you have teammates like that or a team, that just makes such a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I was teaching third grade before she came on my team. And when she came on my team, she taught me so much. She taught me how to have the patience with certain students that I just didn't have. And I was fighting that. And because of her background working with in a group home of
Mm-hmm.
adults, she would talk me through this. And I'm like, I don't have the patience for this kid. It's driving me crazy. And so I learned how to, like you said, understand and see through things. And then I always call them quirky because I'm quirky, but I love the kids who
Yeah.
I know the previous teachers didn't necessarily love them.
Right.
And so I see that uniqueness about them and I latch on to it. But having a teammate or a team where here's my strength, this is my challenge, can you help me with that? And again, not being afraid to go and say, I don't know this. When I taught, after I left kindergarten, I taught 5th grade. From kinder to 5th, like, just think about that for real quick. I was teaching apple to, I don't even know what kind of math we're doing. And the teammates I had then, one was fresh out of college, one had a lot of experience. I got just wonderful ideas and learn a lot from them. So I go to Rachel for something, I go to Denise for something. This is a different Denise, but I would go to her and I said, Denise, I don't know how to teach this math. I don't remember learning it. I don't know how it's taught in this book. I need help. Can you teach it to me like I'm a student? Because I got to teach this lesson tomorrow. And so
Mm-hmm.
she would walk me through it. You
Mm-hmm.
have to, like, being a teacher, you can't have a whole bunch of pride. You know what I'm saying? You can't be
No,
like
right.
that
Right.
because I didn't know how to do it. So I'm going to go to somebody who will help me. And luckily I had teammates every year who have helped me with something.
Yeah, it's collaboration, and it's one
Mm-hmm.
of the best things to be able to collaborate. I was at the school last night getting ready, and I went around to some of the other classrooms just to get inspired,
Yes.
and to listen. You become a family, and you
Yes.
learn how to support one another. It's like, hey, you need that chair? No, I don't need that chair. I could use that in my classroom. I mean, there's also the borrowing too, right, and the taking.
Yes.
Uh, but the truth is, it's when you show up with the right heart, when you show
Mhm.
up with intention of
Mhm.
doing the right thing, it always works. It
Yes.
really does. I want to touch on this. It's like I know that many teachers get overwhelmed.
Mhm,
Overwhelm is a thing in education, and
mhm.
oftentimes it's something that, um, you know, I know that women, where did that come from? I'm always working with women, so I said women.
Right.
There are teachers of different genders, not just women.
Mhm.
Sorry. Um, I know, I know that teachers want to grow professionally, but they
Mhm,
do feel overwhelmed, right?
mhm.
So how do you, and you've moved into an administrative level, how can schools support teacher development without making professional learning feel like just one more burden?
Okay, so I'm gonna start. I don't have all the answers, and
Right.
I'm not an administrator. Okay.
Well,
No, I know what you mean. I
in,
know. I
okay.
know,
In
because
the technical sense, you're not, I guess, but
right?
to
No,
me,
people are like you're at the district. No, listen, I'm
right.
a teacher. I'm a teacher.
You are at the district.
I am at the district. I know. When I introduced myself, I said my name is Staci. I identify as an elementary school teacher currently serving as an instructional coach. Like I'm always this teacher, but before, okay, so two separate things. So we'll talk administration later. Let's talk teacher, because what
Okay.
we need to do is reframe that thinking around PD, because a lot of us are thinking this is one more thing. And so we already come in with that mindset. It's one more thing. This is not going to help me. And so you have to, if you expect kids to learn, why aren't you a lifelong learner? So you have to come in expecting to learn something new. And that's what I would tell my students every day. Don't walk through these doors not expecting to learn something new. Even if it was you just learn how to spell a new word, you learn something new. And so
That's
I
good.
challenge teachers to walk in and ask themselves, what can I take from this? Because you're not going to take everything. You're
Mhm.
not going to take everything, but I still go to PDs and I'm not even in a classroom. I'm like, ooh, oh my goodness, I could do this with teachers, or I could do this at my next training. So just reframe. It's not one more thing. It's how can this make me better? With that being said, I wish that more administrators would really be in their teachers' classrooms prior to having that conversation, that pre-conference, the pre-observation conference, to identify teacher strengths and identify where there's challenges. Because then, just like we're asked as teachers to differentiate, then you can do that. Now, is that always easy? No,
No.
because
One of
my
them
boss
and
and
so many
I,
of us.
right, my boss and I, you should see us in the office trying to get PDs, and we will tell you for 19 contents. We're trying to get it for everybody, and it's not always possible. And that's why you go in, what can I take from this? Let me take at least one thing from this. How can this make me better? Maybe it's a question that I'm reflecting on my practices, like, oh, I didn't think about that. But if administrators could find the strengths and the challenges and perhaps lean on, because again, we like to learn from our peers, lean on those teachers. Hey, I see you do this consistently. Will you hold a real quick training for these teachers? And I know you know all about that
Mhm.
with Power Up PDs. And then even with the challenges, you have to be comfortable with saying, okay, I found this. I think you might be able to get something from this training.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
um in a perfect world, that would work. I,
Mhm.
I understand things happen and family and life, but I think it's two ways. You can't just rely on district to give you the PDs that you're looking for. You also
Right.
have to go out and find them and not be afraid to say, hey, I found this. I think this is going to help me. Can I go? Or,
Good advice.
right.
Yeah. No,
And
that's really good advice.
and that's what I try to do. And another thing you hit on, one of the best professional learning opportunities is going into someone else's classroom. And when I say that, not necessarily at your school, because we get so caught up in our school culture and we're just in this bubble. And if you go outside, the schoolyard and go to a different campus, you'll
Yes.
see different things,
Uh,
and you'll see different strategies and different ways of approaching the same content or the same lesson. And so that all goes back to asking your admin, I really want to go visit this class. Like, can we get somebody to cover something? Because why not? Why? I mean, it may not happen that day, but why wouldn't your admin not want you to grow? So
Yeah.
PD's down the hall, PD's down the street, PD's online, PD's in a magazine. But
And
it
for
all
all
starts with
non-teacher listeners, it just occurred to me, because you know how we speak in PD is professional
professional.
development. I needed to say
Yes.
that. Sorry. You know, I we just assume that everybody knows, because teachers know what a PD is. They know that there's memes, there's TikToks, there's everything about PDs.
Yes.
But professional development, and in general, I believe strongly in both personal and professional development. That's my thing. So to your point, why not grow? Why wouldn't you want to do that? But I do know, realistically, talking to some of my colleagues, a lot of times they feel like it's about time. This is time I could be doing this, you know,
I'm
and
gonna
that's
take a sip.
yeah, that's it is. This is time I could be doing this, and I'm not in my class.
Right.
I need to be here, and I get that. I do. I get that too. But I think over time we learn better about managing our time, and some of us don't, and some of us are just at the school until 11 o'clock at night, like I was last night. I mean, it is what it is. But you do it, and I wasn't even unhappy. I was having fun cutting out things and trying to make my walls look good.
Yes.
Because I'm excited about seeing my kiddos tomorrow. I really am.
And
Go ahead.
And even okay, so I said you don't have to have the Pinterest room. I love that you were cutting, because I get joy in that too, just getting stuff ready.
Yeah.
You don't have to have everything on the walls, but have your classroom welcoming. Have that space welcoming. My class literally were blank bulletin boards I had fabric and I had border and the subjects on the wall, but that was it when they came for Meet the Teacher. Because we built that later. We did that later. And I learned to only put stuff on the wall that I'm actually going to use. And so I didn't overcrowd. I used to, but overcrowd with posters and cute things. I had my motivational stuff that I would refer to. And so that's the thing. Like, I would refer to it. If I'm not going to refer to it, it doesn't belong on the wall.
That's right.
And then I'd have my academic things, but that wasn't always there on Meet the Teacher. The walls were covered. They weren't like the bulletin board you see. I had fabric around them, but I didn't have all the posters and everything up, which frees up time.
Like you said earlier, when your ex-husband told you about putting the stuff on the board, the kids can't read it. I have things on the wall to help me remember, to make sure that I don't forget to cover certain things as well. Teaching English language arts, as you know, is not for the weak. No. There's so many nuances to that I don't remember my ELA. That was 60 years ago. But honestly, not really 60 years ago. Let's fix that right now. But honestly, there is a science to it. I always tell people the reason why they call it the art of teaching. There is an art and there's a science to it. And then you have to be intentional. Intentionality is so important. Why am I doing this? How is this going to, even with, and I want you to talk a little bit about National Board and some of the research base and stuff, strategies that they talk about. But honestly, that's one of the biggest takeaways that I learned is, I'm doing this because I know my students in this way, and so forth and so on. And so that's very important as well, in that support. And so what are some of the practical strategies that that worked really well for you as a teacher?
So one of the strategies, and it can work from K through 12, a classroom management strategy is, I call it having a magic word, and it's just part of teaching procedures and routines. Matter of fact, it's like my second or my first episode of my podcast. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. But just having a magic word, and when you're giving instructions, mine was go. And so today's magic word, it was always the same as go. So when I say this magic word, you're going to do this. I'm going to give you instructions first. And when I say go, you're going to do them. Don't do anything until I say go. What am I going to say? Go. Great. And then give the instructions, have someone repeat it. Who can tell me what the instructions were? Who can tell me what that person just said? Who can tell me the magic word? Okay. All right. Go. And then they go and do their thing. And as they are doing their thing, I appreciate the way someone's working quickly and quietly. I appreciate this. Thank you for this. And recognizing. So it's something as little as go. And what really validated that was we have a teacher at the other middle school. She listened to the podcast and she said, I really thought that was just elementary until I tried it and it worked in my classroom. I'm like, yes, it does work.
I'm going to be trying that.
So that's one of the things. And another thing, and I have this, and I call it research-based because I did it and it worked for me, and then other people have done it. But one of the things is using students' names, but make sure you know how to pronounce them. But using students' names as your right?
Yeah, don't ruin their name.
Using students' names as your teaching. So if you have your teaching sounding like a conversation, it keeps their attention, but a lot of kids really only hear their name when they're in trouble. And so when you use it throughout your teaching, if you see them kind of drifting off, use that student's name, but don't call them out like you're not listening, just use that student's name. Even if someone's paying attention, make eye contact, use that student's name. So I would start remember Davina yesterday when we were talking about this book and Timmy said this, and I use their names. And so they're always, because we pay attention when we hear our names. And it just makes them feel seen. So those are things, and I'm just getting beginner level. Walking around your classroom. Now that is research-based because that is in Harry Wong. That's in Fred Jones, Tools for Teaching. You need to be walking around your classroom and standing next to kids, especially the ones who maybe look like they're into something. You need that zone of proximity. I think that's what it's called.
Yes, it is.
And just standing there, and even do it to the kids who are totally focused and paying attention, because
absolutely
you got to keep them guessing. Okay. So those are just simple things of just your presence in the classroom and procedures. Now, when we get to academics and wanting kids to take risk and wanting them to think, one of the things, whatever you want your kids to do, you have to model it. So if you want your kids to think, you have to show what thinking looks like. Even if you're like, I already know this, show your thinking, talk out loud, write out a problem or a sentence, whatever.
Speak aloud, that's powerful.
Yes. And then make the mistakes so they can catch it, but model what you want. If you want them to think, you have to give them time to kind of marinate in the whatever you're talking about. So that's where that wait time comes in. And I called it in my class think time. So I posed a question. I'm going to give you some think time. No one answer. I'm going to give you think time. Now, if you think you have an answer, go ahead and put a thumbs up at your chest. But I don't want anybody talking because everyone deserves think time. And then give that appropriate amount of time, and then show me if you have an answer. And then I don't want to hear it. Tell your neighbor. So I throw in that turn and talk, and then who can tell me what their partner said. So giving them that think time really helps, because even as teachers, one of the biggest things when we come out of professional development is we don't really have time to really reflect on this and think about it.
Right.
Because we're trying to get all this stuff in 2 hours or an hour and a half. And so if we need that reflection, that think time, so do our kids. And if you do that, then those kids who process a little slower, because I am one of those people, I have to process things before I respond. And that empowers them because you've given them that time to process. Now it empowers the kid because now you can tell them, think of another way, think of more ways. But those are just little things, little
Yeah,
things.
but those things may be little, but it makes a huge difference in the way that your class can go because um, I just the think time when I noticed that even in our professional development we just had with ASU, educate next education workforce, she was doing that with us adults,
Mm-hmm.
and she was very intentional about the full 30 seconds, which feels
Mm-hmm.
like a lifetime when it's quiet, right?
It does.
It really does. It's like
It does.
only 30 seconds for goodness sake, but it felt
Mm-hmm.
like forever. And that's because our minds are constantly churning and we're ready to
Mm-hmm.
on to the next thing, on to the next thing. And very, very, so teaching kids young to stop
Mm-hmm.
and think is super important. In the first couple of weeks of school, I always go over metacognition
Mm-hmm.
and how important it is to think about how you're thinking and how
Mm-hmm.
you're processing. And so I can really, I need to use the strategy of reminding them to think
Mm-hmm.
more often. So I appreciate that. Very, very good. So as an instructional coach, you don't just work with, I mean, you probably work more with adults than you do with young folks. Although I have seen you, I have to
Yeah.
give you a shout out. We had, I don't know if you remember, it was last year or the year before. It might have been the year before. We had a substitute in the math class, and you came
Oh,
in.
social studies. It was social
Well, that's
studies.
before the room switched. That's right. It was.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's now that's now the math room. But you're right.
Oh, okay.
It
Okay.
was the social studies room. So that was 2 years ago. You came in and we had that adjoining door, and I was able to see you in action with the kids, and it was amazing. Like they came from that room into my room still talking about Miss Stacy and how fun Miss Stacy is. And then you hung out and you spent time with them. And I know you do that when you go to schools,
Mm-hmm.
but you also work with adults, you work with
Mm-hmm.
teachers. So how do you build trust? Because I know that for anyone who's listening, who's a coach or in that capacity, it's not always easy to deal
Mm-hmm.
with adults. And we, especially those of us who are proprietary about our space, our
Mm-hmm.
classrooms, our little kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Mama Lions, I'm in the lion's den. When you come into my room, this is my world type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how do you do that? Because I met you with the district, and from day one, you've been my day one. Like you've been one of the coolest people,
Well, thank you.
and we clicked immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So it was never, I never had a thought about you walking in my room and me feeling some kind of way. So
Mm-hmm.
either that's a superpower you have, or so tell us about why is Stacy so warm and welcome?
I love, okay, I love learning about people. I love learning about people, where they've come from, the different cultures. And so I think when I first come, one, I always introduce myself. But I ask questions, and I notice this. Tell me, about where you're from, or I'll just ask questions. If I come into your classroom with before you've met me, which I don't like doing, but I do. I always try to leave some feedback, whether it's
Mhm.
a little, I call them love notes, but a little note
Mhm.
or an email. And my feedback isn't, it was great to see your class. It was, you did this, this is what happened, blah, 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 blah. And so my feedback is showing, this is what I saw you do, and this is how it can impact, this is how it impacted the kids. And I also say I enjoy going to their class. I
Mhm.
also love to I love to shout out teachers. And so if you've ever gotten, I try to do school wide. I was just in this person's class. I had the privilege of going in their class, and this is what they did. If you need help with this, this is the person you need to go to.
Mhm.
And so just recognizing strengths. But another told me at the high school, because I don't know everything. And I said, I don't know that, but I will find out and get back to you. And
Mhm.
for the most part, usually I do. Now, sometimes it has slipped my mind if it doesn't, if I don't write it down, but I'm quick to admit I don't know this, and I will find out. And then I just respect you as a professional. When I became an instructional coach, I'm the secondary instructional coach. And so that means I support middle schools and high schools. I've never taught middle school or high school.
Mm.
And I recognize, like, I know teaching is teaching, but I know that teaching may look a little different in high school and a little different in middle school. And so just asking them questions about their teaching and just, how did you do that? Where did you learn that? Or, complimenting on something. But I think a smile goes a long way too. I smile.
Mhm. You smile. You just don't come across as evaluative and critical. And I think that is definitely, it is a superpower to be able to help people develop and give people advice and be able to, broaden perspectives and not make someone feel less than. That's powerful. I've worked with different types of people in my career, and I've worked with people that left teachers in tears. I've worked with people who have been pretty much void of any real substance and not really helping anyone grow or develop. They're just there. There's different, there's opposite ends of the spectrum. None of us are perfect, obviously,
Right.
but we're all growing on our journey. But when you have the right fit, when you know what you know, and you're able to use it, and I do think, Staci, it goes back to what you said about you became comfortable in your teacher's skin, and you're able to be the beautiful queen that you are and not feel in any way like you have to put on airs, as the old folks used to say. Don't put on airs, whatever that means. But you know what I mean? It's like I'm the same way. I am who I am wherever you see me, whether it's on this podcast or in person. I mean, as
Yes,
far as
you
I
are.
know, I don't change. And I learned, I think, well, for one thing, when you get to a certain age, you realize you don't have to change. Because what are you gonna do about it?
Right.
At this point, what you gonna do? I'm not climbing, the ladder, whatever. I'm happy and you should be happy too. That's all I care about. But honestly, that's a growth in and of itself. That's a personal growth journey that we all have. And some of us embrace it, some of us don't. But there's nothing better to me than being comfortable in your skin, period.
Yeah.
Teacher skin or not. Authenticity is very important. And I know that you really bring it. You bring authenticity, and that's what I appreciate about you. And you genuinely do care about teachers as much as you do the kiddos, and that's very important as well. I don't want this to ever end without us covering the fact that you are a national board certified teacher. You
Yes.
understand the standards. So how has that influenced your teaching? And I
Oh
know
my gosh.
you talk about it.
Oh my gosh. It totally changed. I think that's where that change is like clicked when I started going through the national board journey. Mind you, I feel like I was bamboozled, but that's a different story.
You just talked into it.
I went to this professional development, the pre-candidacy class, and then the trainers walked us over to the computer lab, because we still had computer labs at the schools, and said, "Okay, register. Let's go ahead and register." And I was like, "What? What?" I registered, but when, and you know this, when if teachers going through national board, when they're being supported by the candidate support providers, the one thing you hear all the time is go into the standards, read the standards. And so there's different certificates based on your content. So mine was literacy and reading language arts, early middle childhood. So there's standards written by teachers for teachers. And so as I started looking through the standards, I had a green highlighter, and I would highlight things in green that I'm already doing. And then I would highlight things in yellow that I do, but not on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
And then things in pink or red that I don't do and I need to start doing. And I saw so much green that it really validated, like, I'm on the right track. This is, oh my
Mm-hmm.
goodness. Okay, so I'm doing the things. I'm doing the right things.
You're doing
right?
all the things.
Right. I'm doing the right things. And then that really encouraged me to, okay, I got to get these yellows to green. And so
Mm-hmm.
what can I do so that I can be even better and show that I'm an accomplished teacher? But it really changed how I thought. And it made me think, like you said, how is this going to benefit students? And if you can't answer that question, then you don't need to be doing it. How's that
Mm-hmm.
poster going to help students? It's not, we don't need it. How's this
Mm-hmm.
activity? It's a cute font, but is it going to help students? Nope, we don't need it. And
Mm-hmm.
so reading the standards, and then also National Board, the foundation is the 5 core propositions. So
Mm-hmm.
I have the book. I have the book.
Yes.
Yes, the
What
book.
teachers should know.
Yes, what teachers should know and be able to do. And so it's based on the 5 core propositions. And the first one is teachers are committed to their students and learning. And that we're committed. So it's about the kids. We're committed to their our students and their learning. And that means all, like each and every. All of our students, not just the ones you like, not just the ones that don't get on your nerves. It's each and every. And so being committed and knowing, they know the students. And so with that, I realized, like, I know my students, but then there's some kids I don't know, and I need to get to know them and how they learn and how they think, and understand they contribute to our classroom as much as teachers do. I've learned something from hundreds of students that I didn't know because we had different life experiences.
Right.
And so just knowing. And then the second one is teachers know their subject, and not only know their subject, but they know how to teach it to the kids, because those are 2 separate things. And I'm
sorry. It's so true. It's so true. You need to know how to teach it. I know.
Yeah, just because you can do it doesn't mean you can teach it. And so, and again, that's why I went to that teacher and was like, I don't know how to teach this. I can do it, but I don't know how to teach it. And so it really based off that. And then the third one, let's see, teachers are responsible for managing and monitoring their students. And so that's, again, are you seeing the growth? Or if not, we're not going to automatically talk about these kids don't want to learn. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, because you're responsible for managing and monitoring their learning. If everybody failed that test, that's not on them. That's on you. Okay. That's on you. Mm-hmm. And if they don't want to learn, why? Did you ask why? Did you find out why? Mm-hmm. Because like you said, behavior is communication. Mm-hmm. If the kid's sitting there with his head down, why? What's going on?
Why?
Right. And that's why. And then just the, you think systematically about your practice, that intentionality. Why are you doing what you are doing? And there was one, I have a story. I know.
That's okay.
Okay. I put this as a social media post I made, but I had an instructional coach she came into my classroom. I was teaching 4th grade, and I'm still it was my 4th year teaching. So, I'm still figuring things out. But I had this student, and I used to call her a little fairy. She would just flutter around the classroom, just flutter. Like, not a care in the world, just flutter. Yeah. And she was like that, how she talked. She didn't talk fast, incredibly smart, but she just took her time with everything. So, we have reading assessments and fluency assessments to see how fast kids can read. Mm-hmm. And she took her fluency test, and she did not score what a 4th grader would typically score. So the instructional coach came in, and she was saying, she really needs to go to intensive. Her scores aren't high. And I said, no, she doesn't. She knows what she's reading. She is just taking her own time. Like, nothing rushes this girl at all. And that's just how she is. But I can talk to her, I can ask her questions, and she knows everything she's reading. And so, of course, the coach didn't believe me. So she took the girl and dibbled her, and came back. She was like, Staci, you're right. She knows everything, but she's just slow. I told you that, but because I know my students, I could be an advocate for my student. Go on and test her, but I'm not going to put her in the intensive class. She doesn't need it. What we need to do is focus on the comprehension part and grow that. And so that's so important, so important. And
Wow.
just knowing your students, knowing why you're doing what you're doing. Now, have I done fluff? Absolutely. We've all done fluff. We've
Mhm.
all done a word
Mhm.
search. We've all done a
Yeah,
coloring.
coloring page or
Listen. Will I put a directed drawing on YouTube up? Yes,
Yes,
I will.
yes.
Because sometimes we just need that brain break.
Sometimes you need that. But you
Right.
said something, I don't want to get too far past that. Should be quoted in gold lettering. Because I know my student, I can advocate for them. Another thing that's very key. I want people who are parents that are listening to this, that may listen to it in perpetuity, understand this. Many teachers are advocates for your child, without a doubt. And once we get that opportunity to know them, and understand what's going on with them, we are going to be their biggest cheerleaders. And I too, I don't know if they're gravitating to me or I'm gravitating to them, but some of the most challenging behaviors are the ones that I just really, and what I find are so many gems in those kids. So many. I have so many names going through my head right now that I cannot, for legal reasons or not, call out. But when I think of each child, who's some of which are now adults, which definitely stay in touch, I think about how I am proud that I could see and get
Yes.
through that veneer, that you know and when you really think about it, that is such a big part of being an educator. It is. It really is. It is not just stand in front of the room and talk at them. There's
Right.
so much more to it. But
Right.
you said a mouthful when you said that, because I know my students. So I challenge teachers to get to know their students. That's number
Absolutely.
one. And these
Absolutely.
first couple weeks of school, as school is starting,
Mhm.
is probably the most important time. And some, districts are starting later than we
Mhm.
are, of course. But this is the time when you want to invest in not only getting to know them, but allowing them to know you.
That part. That part.
Allowing them to
Mhm.
know you, because oftentimes I understand adults, like anyone else, people have different personalities, people
Mhm.
have different quirks and things that, my life is private. No, I'm not telling you, don't tell them your personal business.
Right.
No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. That's not what we're
Mhm.
saying. But what we are saying is be vulnerable just a little
Yes.
bit. You want them to be vulnerable and learn from you. Be vulnerable and learn from them. It's
Yes.
a two-way street.
Yes.
And I can't impress that enough. But we are already at an hour, and
Boom.
there's something it just goes so fast. I love these conversations. But there's one thing I want to make sure that people know, and that is your 30-minute PD podcast.
Mhm.
You're back. You're going to be doing that.
Yes.
I love I love what I've seen. I don't know if anybody has seen your wonderful TikToks and reels, and I don't know exactly. I mean, I see you pop up, and I'm like, oh, that's my girl. That's my girl. But they're great.
Thank you.
They're great, and again, all with the intention of helping teachers be better teachers.
Mhm.
And I love it. I love that. So where do you find the 30-minute PD?
So I know I'm definitely on Spotify and Amazon. For
Okay.
some reason, Apple will not let me get on there, but
Yeah.
you can find me there.
Spotify
Um,
and Amazon. Okay.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
the 30-minute PD. Love the name, by the way, because
Yes.
everybody wants a short PD, but 30 minutes is
Yes.
good. And then your personal motto is you do you. You
Mhm.
mentioned that earlier.
Mhm.
And I think you've kind of touched on how
Mhm.
that philosophy shaped your career. You became more self-aware, you
Mhm.
became more authentically you.
Mhm.
What would you say to other educators right now who are dealing with, and you may have already said it, but let's just reiterate it. What would you say to educators who are dealing with the imposter syndrome or dealing with the I'm not that teacher.
Right.
What would you
Right.
say?
That is a good question, because I still have that little voice in my ear as well. And I would just say, just ask yourself, how do you want to show up for your students? What do your students need from you? What do you want your students to experience? And then just be that teacher. You
Okay.
don't have to be perfect. And matter of fact, if you try to be perfect, then it turns into a power struggle with kids. They'll see right through that. But just know that in this profession, even though we're teaching young minds, we don't know everything. And so show up to learn something new, because you might learn something new that day. You can do it. You are that teacher. You are that teacher.
Yes.
So, and that's a book I've been working on for a long time, but you are that teacher, and you have to tell yourself, I am that teacher.
Yes.
And knowing that you don't have to be like everybody else. And that's the part, once you let go of that, I mean, I think that's what happened once I let go of that. And I come in and just, this is how I am. I wear my outfits, I wear my fun earrings.
Yes.
I still act goofy in front of kids. And yes, I guess I turned into bubble gum, because I would sing to my fifth graders as they were coming into class, and all the other fifth grade teachers were like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I'm doing Rise and Shine and Welcome to School Today. But because I'm that teacher, I'm that teacher. I giggle, I laugh, I have fun. I'm just me. And then the kids can be them, and then we can just be ourselves in our classroom. So
I love that. You are just you. I have one final question.
Yes.
And I don't want you to leave when we end the show. I want to talk to you backstage. So I want to tell you that too. Again, we are on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. Wherever you're listening from, please like, share. If you know a teacher, I challenge every listener, if you know a teacher, share this episode with a teacher, because I guarantee you it will help them. Especially starting out with the new school year. My bonus question, my last question is, you're a huge LeVar Burton fan.
I am.
What would meeting him mean to you, and how has his work influenced your love of education, reading, or storytelling? And everybody, you need to tag LeVar Burton when you get to here. Anyway, go.
Well, okay. One, I just have to say, I see my sister on there, and she knows. Shout out to my sister, one of my biggest cheerleaders. Okay. Yay. I love this man. Okay. I love this man, and I just love his energy, his love of kids and reading. Like, he was a big part of me.
The Reading Rainbow?
Yes, Reading Rainbow. Like, he was a big, I don't deal with the Star Trek, but the Reading Rainbow.
I'm a Star Trek person. But
okay, I'm Reading Rainbow. I can still sing songs from that show about going to the bindery and making a book. Like, I love it. And he was a big part of loving to read. And I love his voice. I love when he reads, when he had his podcast and listen to his stories, but he just has this love of learning and love of kids. And just, he's himself. If you watch all the episodes of Reading Rainbow, he did him. Like, he changed. And even watching the documentary where he was like, no, this is who I'm going to do, that. And I respect that. And I want to meet him. And I'm holding back tears, because every time I think about meeting him, I just want to cry, because he's amazing. And I just want to say thank you. He's amazing.
You have to meet him.
I do.
I'm going to somehow have something to do with that. You have to meet LeVar Burton. I think he's amazing well, but you are a true fan. You could have started a fan club, but anyway, we can do that, Staci. I'm all big on projects.
Yes, I guess.
Staci Hayes, thank you
Okay.
so much. Thank you so much. I can't tell you I am not disappointed in any way with all of the anticipation for this episode. You lived up to it, girl. Every bit of
Thank
it.
you.
I know, I mean, your energy just exuding right now. You make me love education. You make me want to
Oh,
be a better educator just knowing you. And I'm
thank
so
you.
proud and happy to call you a district colleague. I love working with you. Love it when you come to my
Same.
room. Love all that. But thank you again for gracing this. And I will, whenever you need me to come to your podcast, I'll be there. I just
Oh,
invited,
yes. I already
I
have
just
ideas. I
invited
already have
myself. I just, oh, oh, that was tacky. Oh, you know what? I adore you.
No, you've given me, I've been asked, I've never had guests except for my kids. They were my learning experts. And that's an
Oh,
imposter syndrome, because even Stacey Boy, the first principal, he's always like, when am I coming on your podcast? And I've always been nervous about bringing people. So that's, I know. And I get, this is the look I get. This is the look. And so as I was thinking, as I was coming back, with my new series, I was like, ooh, Davina, I'm going to tap her brain. So yes, you've given me courage to,
yes.
I need to be challenged. Just like when I was in your classroom and I'm like, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Why'd you tell them to do this?
Hmm.
It made you think. So I just need to be challenged. I need to be pushed too.
Yes, absolutely. Well, iron does sharpen iron, and that's what this whole platform is about, iron sharpening iron in the universe. So we definitely have to do that for one another. But again, I am so excited. New school year, let's do it
Yes.
again. Let's keep doing it. And you'll be back, by the way. You're gonna be my
Okay.
expert. Education.
Sounds like a plan.
To everyone listening, thank you so much once again for showing up for the Coach's Corner. I couldn't do it without listeners. Please like, share, subscribe, all of the stuff you know you're supposed to do when you watch something on social media, right? Appreciate everyone. Until next time. See you later.